evening. I'm Mike Thompson, and welcome to Nothing News Under the Sun, the only news show that tells you what happened today while making sure you question whether anything really matters anymore. Our top story tonight. President Trump has announced that next year, the White House will host a UFC fight as part of America's 250th birthday celebration. Because apparently, nothing says Happy Birthday America quite like two people beating the living daylights out of each other on the front lawn of our nation's most important building. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, didn't we already have enough fighting at the White House? Well, folks, this time it's organized fighting, with rules, and probably better healthcare coverage. So let me paint you this picture, folks. It's July 4th, 2026. America turns 250, which in democracy years is like, well, let's just say we're officially a senior citizen now. We qualify for the early bird special at Denny's. And how does President Trump want to celebrate this momentous occasion? With a nice, dignified ceremony? Maybe a parade? Some fireworks? No. He wants Dana White to build an octagon on the South Lawn and watch two fighters attempt to rearrange each other's facial features while 25,000 people cheer and the Lincoln Memorial silently judges us all. Now, Trump made this announcement at the Iowa State Fairgrounds because of course he did. Nothing says presidential dignity like making major policy announcements next to a corn dog stand and a guy selling t-shirts that say, "I got my pig judged at the Iowa State Fair." The president said, and I quote, "We're going to have a UFC fight. Think of this, on the grounds of the White House. We have a lot of land there. We have a lot of land there." That's his justification. You know what else we have a lot of land for? A putting green, a vegetable garden, maybe a nice gazebo, but no cage fighting, because apparently the Rose Garden wasn't quite violent enough. Now, this announcement shouldn't surprise anyone who knows about Trump's friendship with UFC President Dana White. These two go way back, all the way to 2001, when Trump let the UFC use his Trump Taj Mahal Casino in Atlantic City for fights. Back then, UFC was struggling to find venues because most places thought mixed martial arts was too violent. Can you imagine? A casino in Atlantic City was the respectable option. That's like saying your nephew's garage band is too loud, so you're moving the concert to a construction site next to an airport. But Trump saw potential where others saw chaos. He looked at two people trying to choke each other unconscious and thought, you know what? This could really complement my gold-plated everything aesthetic. And Dana White never forgot that kindness, which explains why he's been showing up to Trump rallies like a UFC groupie with a political science degree. The man spoke at Trump's inauguration. I haven't seen loyalty like that since my neighbor's dog who still waits by the mailbox for his previous owner who moved away 3 years ago. Now, this UFC fight is part of the larger America 250 celebration, because nothing commemorates the signing of the Declaration of Independence quite like watching someone get knocked unconscious while the Star-Spangled Banner plays in the background. Trump says there will be events at every national park, battlefield, and historic site. I can just picture it now. Welcome to Gettysburg, where Abraham Lincoln delivered his famous address, and tonight, where Jake Paul will deliver a famous right hook to Logan Paul's jaw. Here at Mount Rushmore, where 4 of our greatest presidents are carved in stone, watch as 2 featherweights carve up each other's faces. The president also mentioned there would be 20,000 to 25,000 people in attendance. 25,000 people at the White House. You know, I've been to family barbecues with 12 people where someone ended up crying and we ran out of potato salad. But sure, let's put 25,000 people on the White House lawn to watch people fight. What could go wrong? Let's talk about the logistics here, folks. The White House grounds hosting 25,000 people for a cage fight. The Secret Service must be thrilled about this. Sir, we've secured the perimeter, swept for explosives, and there's an octagon where the Marine One landing pad used to be. I can just imagine the security briefing. Mr. President, we've identified several potential threats. The visiting heads of state, the protesters, the hot dog vendors, and oh yes, the 2 professionally trained killers who will be punching each other for sport in your backyard. And think about the neighbors. The White House is in a residential area. Can you imagine being the homeowner next door? You're trying to enjoy a quiet Sunday evening, maybe do some gardening, and suddenly 25,000 people are screaming while 2 fighters are going at it next door. That's not a noise complaint. That's a reason to move to Canada. The reactions to this announcement have been varied. Dana White posted on Instagram that this will be epic, with 3 exclamation points. Because apparently, regular epic only deserves 1 exclamation point, but White House epic requires 3. That's the kind of precise mathematical enthusiasm I want in someone planning a major event at the seat of American government. Meanwhile, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed that Trump is dead serious about this plan. Dead serious about a cage fight at the White House. I haven't heard that phrase used this ironically since my doctor told me I was dead serious about needing to exercise more while I was literally eating a donut in his office. And the UFC fighters are already volunteering for the historic event because nothing completes a fighter's resume quite like defeated opponent at the nation's capital while the Washington Monument watched disapprovingly in the background. Now let's consider how this looks to the rest of the world. Foreign diplomats are going to receive invitations that say, "The President of the United States cordially invites you to witness 2 humans attempt to render each other unconscious on the same lawn where previous presidents held Easter egg hunts." I can just picture the phone calls to embassies around the world. Yes, Ambassador, you heard correctly. Mixed martial arts at the White House. No, this is not a joke. Yes, we realize it's the same place where Winston Churchill and Franklin Roosevelt planned the invasion of Normandy. Yes, we understand the historical significance. No, we cannot guarantee your safety if you're sitting in the splash zone. You know, folks, this isn't entirely without precedent. Theodore Roosevelt used to box in the White House. Of course, that was in a private gym, not a pay-per-view spectacle with 25,000 screening fans and somebody selling overpriced nachos. But I suppose every generation gets the White House entertainment it deserves. The Kennedys had elegant dinner parties with intellectuals and artists. The Reagans had movie stars and Hollywood glamour. And we get cage fighting. It's like we've gone from Camelot to Gladiator in about 60 years. Next thing you know, we'll be throwing Christians to lions on the South Lawn. Tonight only, early bird special if you arrive before the tigers are fed. But you know what? Maybe this isn't so bad. At least it's honest. For years, politicians have been metaphorically beating each other up on TV. Now, we're just making it literal and charging admission. And think about the potential for diplomacy. Instead of boring state dinners, we can settle international disputes in the octagon. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's main event, Secretary of State versus the Prime Minister of Canada, fighting for fishing rights in the Arctic Circle. Plus, it's probably the most exercise we'll see at a White House event since Michelle Obama's fitness initiatives. Remember when the biggest controversy was whether kids should eat more vegetables? Now we're debating whether children should watch people get choked unconscious at presidential events. Simpler times, folks, simpler times. So there you have it, America. In just 1 year, you'll be able to witness history in the making as 2 fighters battle it out, while our founding fathers roll over in their graves so vigorously they could power the electrical grid for the entire event. The White House, where democracy goes to, well, let's just say it's getting a concussion. This has been Nothing News Under the Sun. I'm Mike Thompson, reminding you that in a world where the news keeps getting stranger, at least we're all going crazy together. Good night, America. Try not to have any nightmares about explaining this to your grandchildren. That was it for this episode of Nothing News Under the Sun. Like and subscribe so you'll never miss another update. Thank you for watching and see ya next time.